Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. It is a Thursday, so we're going to have plenty of things to get into today. We're going to do a little What to Watch action presented by Bryant Technologies, into the vibe check of the chat presented by Basis Health, have an Alumni Hall question of the day presented by Alumni Hall, getting some what's more likely considering all the crazy things going on in sports, but that's of course sponsored by our friends over at BetSaracen. And we'll get to basketball, baseball, maybe even some football, some crazy stuff going on. But fellas, how are we feeling on a thirsty Friday, or thirsty Thursday, I should say, here on the show?
Attention, Inside Arkansas listeners, paging Auburn fan Quinn. Please report to the chat. We have business to discuss.
Ooh, you better be in here. And he doesn't even have to give a super chat. He just needs to be in here.
But he's more than welcome to give a super chat. Yeah, he might be on one of his. I mean, we know he's a celebrity at many podcasts. He might be somewhere down the road doing something else. He might be with Field of 68. Might be at KSR. Who the hell knows with him? But I'm feeling pretty good on this Thursday. Even though the baseball weekend series is going to be over before the weekend starts, kind of puts a damper. But the vibes are very good, I would say. Yeah,
we'll talk about that because that just happened before we started the show today, and it's a little bit frustrating, but still, a lot of things going on in the entire Razorback landscape, and it's amazing that every time now with the two players that you added into the Razorback basketball transfer portal here recently, we did yesterday of everyone being excited about it and looking forward to it and everything, but there's still some more to get out there. And now I just feel like if there's these tweets going out of this new player hitting the portal, I'll always check the replies. I always check the responses and see how many Razorback fans are in there to be like, I want this guy. Great. Come to Arkansas. As if maybe that guy's seeing the tweets, but it's just like, hey, Woo Pig, here's the GIF of the Calling the Hogs. Come here. Even there's zero things that have been said about him being interested in Arkansas or Arkansas being interested in him. So we're getting to the point now where people are like, all right, what's next? What are we doing? Who's going to be the next buy? Maybe it's going to be Chad Baker-Mazara. That's what I'm hoping for. I want chaos and craziness, and a lot of people who don't like him would have to like him. So that's my hope for next, is that Chad Baker-Mazara uses his 7th year of eligibility to come to the Hogs.
I mean, we would have to be in delete the tweet mode again, just like we were this time a year ago with John Calipari, because he is definitely one of those guys who, if he's on your team, you love him. If he's not, man, you hate him. And controversial figure, really good player though, and makes a lot of sense to fill some of the holes that Arkansas has. And man, based on the early feedback, it sounds like Arkansas might be a player in the game there. So going to be really interesting to see how this goes with Baker-Mazara. And sounds like he might have like a contract buyout type of situation with Auburn there. And that's a little bit unprecedented. I have no idea what that would look like, but you would have to decide, do you want to pay Auburn some money to get this player that used to tick you off? Or, so there's that part of it. And then this is also a guy who's been at, this would be his 5th school in however many years, and he hasn't been anywhere longer than 2 years. And from like a transcript perspective, is he going to graduate? Is he going to qualify as a grad transfer? What would transfer over? This is not just an Arkansas thing, but an everybody thing. So a lot of obstacles there outside of the obvious with a player like this, but very interesting nonetheless. And I'm curious to hear what you guys would think about the possibility of a polarizing figure like that joining a team that has plenty of trash talkers on it already.
Yeah, and I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of fans going to be doing the mental gymnastics of, do we want this guy because we've been talking crazy about him? He's been trolling us and all this back and forth. And, do you want to get in bed with your enemy? And that's all an important conversation. I think from a basketball standpoint, there's also some interesting questions to ask as well because, Chad Baker-Mazara, I wouldn't say he's a lead ball handler like a point guard, but certainly a backcourt player, someone that, is going to have some playmaking responsibility. Obviously, his shooting would be something that Arkansas could certainly use. We've been saying that all along. They need rim protection and shooting. That's kind of the two missing pieces. He would certainly bring some shooting. But I do think that's a very interesting fit with some of these other Arkansas players that we know are coming back. And we haven't seen Arkansas connected to that many guards. And so there's a reason for that. And so I think there's a lot of fascinating layers to this. Not only the rivalry, not only the personality the basketball fit as well, and what that means for the rest of this Razorback roster, I think is also a pretty intriguing conversation.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, man. It goes back to the whole thing. Hey, if Cal wants the player, then I want the player. That's I trust him. But to take it another step, this is going to be a stretch Armstrong stretch of a comparison. But I'm going to look at it like when Dennis Rodman joined the Chicago Bulls. Because he was part of the Bad Boy Pistons and the Bulls, Chicago, and they hated each other. And everyone's like, "Oh, how's this going to work? They're going for Dennis Rodman. He's not going to get along with Michael Jordan and Pippen and all them." But Pippen and Jordan, all them, are like, "Hey, guy's good, and he can help us out. So we're going to get over it because we want to play and we want to win." And I feel like that would be a lot of cases with any current player or anything. But also, I feel like that's maybe how the fans should look at it. You don't have to like the guy, but do you want to win? Is he going to help you? Then I can get over a lot. I didn't like Cal. I got over it quick because I'm like, this guy can help my team win. And that's really what all it comes down to. And Chad Baker-Mazara, you cannot like his antics. You cannot like the type of personality he's out there with. But the only reason we're even talking about him, the only reason he gets brought up, the only reason that he's in the portal and people are going to be going after him is because he can still play. Like, it's not like he's just some scrub on the bench that talks a lot of noise. The dude can play. Is he the best player in the world? No. But if he can help Arkansas, I'm all for it. Bring him in. I'll deal with the antics. Or I should say, I'll let Cal deal with the antics because he's got a certain way of approaching it. But if Cal wants him, and if he wants to be at Arkansas and he ends up at Arkansas, sign me up. I feel great about it. I can get over a lot of things if he helps the team.
The interesting thing about, Chad Baker-Mazara, a lot of it's the like the antics, like you mentioned, and some of the texts and stuff. And I know he threw that nasty elbow. Was it the Bama game? I think that happened. And it's like, you want to skip that kind of stuff. Obviously the trash talk, the flair, the swag. I don't mind that. I mean, I've always kind of appreciated the villain aspect of guys who act that way, at least. The interesting thing about him is, like, you look at it and, he was ejected early in that game against Yale that they lost 2 years ago in the NCAA tournament. And it was like, this dude's he's a detriment, whatever. Well, this year, he helped lead him to a Final Four and was a huge part of that. So maybe some signs of growth there. I don't know. But when we talk about the fit and everything, immediately when I thought about it, and Andrew, I'm kind of with you. I'm like, all right, well, this doesn't necessarily fit where we've been trying to pencil in that big addition, because I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to see the Chad Baker-Mazara experience at power forward. Like you need somebody kind of who could do the 3-4 thing. But when you look at it in the backcourt, and this is interesting to me, the highest minutes total he's had in a season, which was this past year, is 25. So he's not been a guy who goes out there and plays 34, 35 minutes per game. And Auburn is one of those teams historically that play with a lot of depth. They'll play 9, 10, 11 guys. So he's used to being in a system that has a deep rotation where you're not playing crazy minutes per game, and you're surrounded by a lot of other really talented guys. He played with impact freshman this year in Tahad Pettiford. He played with a dude who was a National Player of the Year candidate in Janai Broom. So there are things about it that I look at and I go, yeah, probably not. But if you really start to dig deeper, and maybe it's just because I'd love it to happen for the content, but you can kind of talk yourself into a world where they could make it happen.
He's not the most ball dominant player in the world, which, I'm sure some fans view him that way because he's had some big scoring games, and he's such a flashy, in your face personality. He's really, if you watch him play, he's really not that, the type of guy who's like, hey, I'm getting the ball, clear out. His assist to turnover ratio kind of sticks out to me. Average just under 3 assists per game and barely over a turnover a game. He's 2-to-1 in the assist to turnover ratio the last 2 years. Again, not like a lead creator that's going to set up your offense every single time down the floor, but has some secondary playmaking, which, like you say, Curtis, in the rotation, kind of when his number is called, like, can fit within the flow of the offense, make good decisions. And the shooting is certainly, it's just easy to play with a guy who can knock down shots and can space the floor around 40% each of the last couple of years from 3, and on a pretty solid volume too. He has the ability to make shots off the dribble. I think from a spot up shooting standpoint, he would be by far Arkansas's best catch and shoot guy right off the bat, I feel like, which would certainly help. 6'7", and so that's interesting defensively. You mentioned you don't want to see him at power forward, and I agree wholeheartedly. This is a guy that's a lot closer to being a combo guard than he is to being like a forward by any stretch. But I wonder how that would look defensively, how he would work with Carter Knox, DJ Wagner, some of these other guys. And I think that what you mentioned there, Curtis, is him being used to playing with other talented players, which of course at Auburn, he was there. He's kind of okay with accepting that role. And so for as much flair and flash as there is with this personality, and there certainly is, I think he's a guy that actually has a little bit of a winning mindset and could fit into it. I just want to see what that looks like. And I'd want to see what the rest of the roster looks like. And I think the other aspect of this is this a Chad Baker-Mazara? You can bring him in and Jameer Watkins. You can go after that other guy. Or is this like an either or type of thing? Is this maybe you're going to get both of those guys and not a big man? I don't know the answer to those questions. I'm interested to see how this plays out and sort of what smoke we start hearing here.
Yeah, and my thing is when it comes to a player like him or any player like this, it's a matter of mixing the positives with the negatives. And as long as the positives far outweigh the negatives, then I'm accepting of it. You don't want to have a player that gets technicals or gets flagrant fouls in inopportune moments. 100%, no one wants that. But there is something to be said about having a player like that who can maybe get into the heads of some other opposing teams, that maybe can be that guy that somebody keeps going after and, really wants to take it to them and then makes it personal and then it frees up somebody else. Like there's just a lot of mental games that could be played having someone like that. It's just a matter of, okay, well, if you're going to be that, and I'll take some flagrant fouls here and there, I'll take some technicals, I'll take some weird behavior and everything, as long as your goods are happening a lot more often and happen a lot more frequently and also being a lot better than what your negatives end up costing. So I think it'd be great. I want Arkansas to kind of have a villain. Am I in the minority here where I want Arkansas basketball to have a player like that? Because I don't think they ever have. Maybe on an occasion there's been a game or a stretch where a player has maybe felt like that. But I don't want a bunch of guys that are the most golly gee whiz likable dudes. I want somebody that's a little nasty and does a little dirty work.
If you're going to be, just automatically kind of penciled in as a villain just because of Cal, you might as well have some guys who fit the mold,
Right.
And they've been teetering with it a little bit, and it's tough as freshmen, but like you think about guys coming back like Billy and Carter, they'll talk to you for sure. Malik Thomas, he's going to talk to you for sure as a freshman. You went and got Nick Pringle, who is absolutely going to talk to you out there on the floor. Older guy who's been in the league for a long time. Chad Baker-Mazara would be like all those guys combined and then on steroids. But could you imagine putting those four dudes out on the floor together? Or those five? Let's think about this. And it's not the craziest lineup in the world, honestly. But if you have Malik Thomas with, Carter Knox and Billy Richmond and Chad Baker-Mazara, it's like a 4-guard deal, and then Nick Pringle, there would be a brawl. Like you want to talk about getting in other opponents' heads, man. It would be absolute insanity. And I want to see it. I want the chaos, man. Sign me up.
Yeah, Nick Pringle, I would say, qualifies as a villain. Now, you could argue, is he like a good enough player to like be a front line, like face of your team type of villain? Probably not. I don't even know if Chad Baker-Mazara is, but I think I'm with you, Curtis. Carter Knox is not a villain, but I wouldn't say he's a baby face by any means. You know what I mean? And I would even go as far as to say that for DJ Wagner, Billy Richmond, like guys like that have a little bit of edge to them. I think having guys like Nick Pringle and Chad Baker-Mazara around them would kind of bring out that junkyard dog. This team, I would love to see now also, let's just be honest. You could throw these personalities together and there could be some parts of the head.
Disaster.
But I do think there's a fact where this team would just have an identity of just tough, physical, confident. Like they would definitely be a team that people wouldn't like.
Dude, I would just love nothing more than the week of Thanksgiving, hearing this story about a plane that Arkansas was on having to turn around because there was some horseplay, going on the plane because you had so many big egos like fighting it out. Like I would love that type of thing. I would love to have that. And, whether it's being, calling it the bad boys or whatever it is, the winning will come along with it. And a lot of times too, fans will adopt the personality of their teams year to year. Like sometimes it's a matter of, if you're winning, it's easy to do. But if you're winning and you're doing it without saying anything, like with Razorback baseball, for instance, there's a lot of people that adapt that personality. But if you have a basketball team that's winning and it's with Cal and they talk that noise, ooh, buddy, Arkansas fans, they already like to do that. But you talk about them being Oh, full. And you talk about a way to bring in people into the stands and into the games all the time because people are like, oh, I want to be a part of it too. The student section suddenly feels empowered. Oh, I can say whatever I want to those guys. These guys are coming after them too. It just increases this huge personality of the us against the world mentality, but doing it with a little flair on top of the most important thing, winning. That just sounds like a recipe for some good stuff. That's something that will just fill me up and get my nips hard, man. If I could see something like that.
I remember when he first appeared on my radar last year at Auburn. It was when he was kind of emerging over there, and this is the day that Scotty actually put him on the big board. He was one of the first guys that was added to our big board last year. It's like, I kind of like this dude if he became available. I can't remember who they were playing. But he was saying something to the crowd, and he got whistled for a tech. And then he was asked about it. It might have been after the game or the next day in the press conference or whatever. And he was just like, yeah, he's like, that was crazy. I'm not going to tell you what I said, but I was speaking Spanish. I was speaking Spanish to the crowd. I didn't think the ref spoke Spanish either. So he must have heard me, and that's why he gave him the T. Otherwise, that was crazy. And that kind of personality with it, just hilarious, man.
By the way, isn't Chad Baker Mazzara like, maybe I made this up. Isn't he like Dominican?
I think so.
I was just saying, I feel like because now he's had a fascinating journey. You touched on it earlier, but like went to Duquesne. I feel like there was one other school.
Went to JUCO. Duquesne to San Diego State to JUCO to Auburn. Yeah, Auburn is the first place he's been for more than 1 year.
And it started in the Dominican. Dude's a well-traveled gentleman. I mean, this dude's been around. But to your point, John, I think this is something that would rub off on the fan base. And by the way, we're talking about this in the Chad Baker Mazzara context. With or without Chad Baker Mazzara, I think Arkansas is kind of trending that direction of having a hard-nosed, swagger personality, tough personality type of team. That is the type of thing that does rub off on a fan base. And think about how cocky and like bombastic we would be if this was our team.
Yeah, okay. Well, see what you did there. Yeah.
BOMBASTIC.
Yeah. No, I think I would love it. And it would be one of those things to where, I'm not saying that it went in hand with Cal, but after seeing this past year where there was not any of those unlikable players that were talking trash and being those personalities, the coaches were not being that, but everyone hated you, Arkansas, and hated Cal and wanted you to lose. And when you lost, they celebrated, they laughed, they mocked. They did everything when you didn't start anything. Like you didn't come out and being like, oh, Cal's not sitting there like, oh yeah, I see national championship team on this. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. Like none of that happened. And you got all of that from everyone in the national media, other fan bases, whatever it is. So after all that, it's like, screw it. Let's just do that. Let's just embrace that. Just be unlikable. They're not going to like you anyways. And even if you guys are going to church every Sunday and drinking your green tea, they ain't going to care. They're going to hate you. So might as well embrace it, use it to your advantage, and become everyone's talking point, even more so now. But you just got to handle it, Razorback fans. You got to handle it because there'll be times when you lose, and you're going to hear about it exponentially worse because the higher the pride, the greater the fall. But you can handle that as long as the winning comes along with it. Man, I'm getting excited. I'm ready. Get Chad Baker Mazzara here now. I want this guy on the team. Let's do this, man.
Be so much great material. It would be perfect for the content.
Could we? I mean, yeah, because you think about, oh man, you have the Iron Bowl players coming together, a former Bama player and a former Auburn player. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's like you got to talk about the rosters there, and then you add in a South Carolina player. I mean, geez, it just continue to add to it. So.
I mean, there's a non-zero chance here that Chad Baker Mazzara and Nick Pringle were nose to nose at some point last season, right? I mean, 2 seasons ago, with the Auburn Alabama deal.
Yeah, hell, even this season. I mean, they've been kind of circling each other for a while. Yeah. I bet there's been some talk.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I want fights. I can't wait. Now I'm excited. I've made the mistake. I've set my heart on getting Chad Baker Mazzara now. Regardless of anything else, that's who I want, what I want, and hopefully it ends up happening. But it's not really up to me. I don't really have a say.
This has to be the best name who could have entered the transfer portal here in the last few days. Like, I'm sure there's going to be some other really good players that enter between now and Tuesday, but in terms of conversation pieces and debates, I can't think of a better player in college basketball right now than Chad Baker Mazzara to have entered.
No.
You know what's funny is right before there started being some smoke with him in Arkansas, I was seeing all these I think it was Kentucky that were like, hey, Chad Baker Mazara puts his top 3, and it was like DoorDash,
LinkedIn, yeah, like
it was like Uber Eats, and like all these stories. I'm like, all right, come on. He would, and if he were in Arkansas, he would definitely get a lot of those jokes. Hell, he'd get some from the Razorback fan base. He goes 3 for 12 in one game. He'd definitely be getting some JB Hunt allegations.
I mean, it's Cal, it's his kryptonite. He's like, if you can't beat the 30-year-olds, just go get a bunch of them and go to war, man. Why not?
Do you think it would help Darius Acuff learning from a guy who's 9 years older than him?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to take so much wisdom from Chad Baker Mazara.
Which, by the way, I think people heard me say 9 years and thought that was like an exaggeration. It's kind of actually not. I think it's like 7.5, 8 years that separate those two guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
a lot of years.
Because he'll be 26.
26 years old, and Acuff will turn 18.
That's dumb, but I love that. That's so
NBA
dumb
stuff, man.
Yeah. So can we at least say that if they did add Chad Baker Mazara, they have experience, they have a veteran at least, in all of that too. So we'll continue this discussion because I want to pose a question to y'all, and we'll do it as far as our what to watch for, presented by Bryant Technologies, our friends over there, where they're dedicated to delivering that high quality network infrastructure and security camera solutions. And they take pride in their exceptional workmanship when commitment to keeping your business and operations seamlessly connected and secure, which is always important, especially in this day and age. I mean, if we didn't have our setup of internet, we probably wouldn't be very good at doing this show. So we all know that a lot of the businesses run via the internet, and you also make sure it's secure with your cameras, installations, everything. They handle that. Digital signage, even TV mounting. They make sure that you are taken care of and they have you covered. And Bryant Technologies, they not only service the entire state of Arkansas, but the bordering states as well. So give them a call today at 870-883-0330 or check their website at bryantstechnologies.com. That's Bryant's with an S in between. Bryantstechnologies.com. It's Bryant Technologies, quality work guaranteed. So I know we'll get to the chat here in a second too, folks, but I'm curious to ask y'all, the Chad Baker Mazara thing is fun, but let me ask you this, and you can just do recent history. Say what would be the most unlikable player that Arkansas could have, like, if there was a transfer portal the entire time, that could have come in and been like, oh gosh, we gotta like this guy? Because I feel like Chad Baker Mazara might be one of those that's up there. Like, somebody may say, oh, Marshall Henderson or whoever, but like, who would be a player that
came to my mind? Actually,
yeah, because I think everybody hated that guy. But like, what is there a player that jumps up that been like, if they would have, that Arkansas fans hated, that if they would have added him to the roster, it would have taken some time for Razorback fans to start liking a little bit?
While Andrew thinks about it, I don't think this would qualify, but immediately what came to my head was like all the kids from Arkansas who went elsewhere, like went to Kentucky or went to Florida or whatever. Then if they came back, they'd embrace them pretty quick there. I was just thinking about what would be weird. And I was thinking about the kids, like the folks who got booed so much. So now I'm trying to think of
I'm having trouble.
Villains.
Yeah, like, and I was thinking at first I just went to like big picture college basketball villains like Grayson Allen, but like Arkansas fans didn't really have any like.
I see that John Oliver had Oscar Sheboy in there. That is a name that came to my mind, but he was so good that you would have been like, all right, cool.
Did people really hate Oscar Sheboy? I think everybody was like, oh, damn, that guy put 15 and 14 on us.
It was just that one game where he was throwing bows, and him and the Mitchells almost came to blows in there. And Wendell Green's an interesting one.
I was going to say
Green is a good one. And KD Johnson, I would say. I mean, I still hate KD Johnson. I'll hate him no matter where he's at.
Yeah.
Was it Green the one that Devo teabagged in the dunk? Was that him, or was that KD Johnson? Okay,
pretty sure. Yeah,
that was Green.
Yeah. So that was one that also popped up to me. A guy who was talking a lot of trash and everything. So because that's the thing. It's almost like a lot of these players, I know nowadays especially, but a lot of these players, they're not around long enough, and you don't play them enough to really develop a true hatred for them in some ways. But and you brought up the Arkansas angle, or Arkansas kids that left. It's like, I think that they would be mad, but it would be the quickest thing to get over. I know it's different circumstances, but I think like Dusty Hannah's left and then came back. Alandis Harris left and came back. I know he wasn't an Arkansas kid, but even Jimmy Witt, for crying out loud, he was here and then left and then came back again. So I think you could be forgiving in a lot of cases, but all it would take, here's the thing about the Chad Baker Mazara thing. By the way, folks, if you're just tuning in, it's not that he's like, oh, it's official, he's coming in. Like, no, we're not even to that point. We're just talking about it. But you know what would be the quickest way for him to really just feel great about it is if he did something like our guy that Paul Biancardi just tweeted about Nick Pringle. If he said something like this, because this is a quote from Nick Pringle. It says, quote, "This is the best opportunity for me, coming to Arkansas. I've been trying to find the right fit, a coach who is family-oriented, fights for his players, and is loyal. I want to give my all and be a sponge. I will be surrounded by players who want to win and play in the NBA because that is my goal. Our roster is coming together really well. We have a lot of talent to win. It will come down to our chemistry, how we put the pieces together and determine our success." Yeah, blah, 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 all that nonsense. But here it is. It says, when I played here, talking about Arkansas, with Alabama, it was the first time my ears were ringing. There's great fan support here. If you got Chad Baker-Mazara come in there and say something about, man, when we came to Arkansas, I couldn't hear myself. It was the greatest atmosphere I've ever been in. Everyone's like, oh man, this guy. He's my man. I'll always like this guy. Like, that's all it'll take. Forget people just turn around on if he says he massages the balls a little bit of the Razorback fan base. They'll feel really good about it.
Unfortunately, that one time Chad Baker-Mazara came to Arkansas, they beat him by 30 in Bud Walton Arena, and it wasn't very loud in there at all.
True.
Yeah. Do y'all remember the game that Nick Pringle's talking about? I believe it was the Brandon Miller year, where Arkansas played him close. I think Bama was number 1, and then they hit about 4 threes in a row, and that was it.
It was the day that Ian Jackson visited Arkansas, by the way. Yep.
Oh, how about that? Yeah. I do remember that game, and that game was not very fun. So, but yeah, that had to be it. But still, point is if he does something to talk about the fan base, just say, I've always loved the Razorback fans. I have a lot of friends that are Razorback fans, something like that. When I went to Fayetteville, I went down to this restaurant over here. It was great.
I read every one of my mentions on social media, and Arkansas fans are the funniest, man.
Yeah. Yeah. They know everybody says mean stuff, but when they said mean stuff, it was clever. It was witty. They knew what they were doing. So that would be the quickest way for them to turn around on him. Obviously, succeeding and doing well, but that would be pretty fun to hear the quotes, or whenever we'd actually hear quotes from him, to be able to do it. But I just laugh because there's so many people like on Twitter right now. It's tweeting him. He's like, we don't want him. Some guy's like, absolutely not. I'd rather lose every game. Like, shut up. No, you wouldn't. You're an idiot. If you say that and you truly believe it, you're a moron. If you would rather lose every game than add a player like Chad Baker-Mazara to your roster, I'm sorry.
What would a player have to do for that to actually be true? Like, would the player have to literally have killed multiple world leaders? Like seriously, what would have to have happened before we'd really truly be like, I'd rather lose without this guy?
You just kind of brought it up, the name at least. I know it's a little different, but I'm like, dude, I think if they would have brought Brandon Miller in like his transfer with all that stuff that happened, I think there'd be some fans, not all, but some fans would be like, I don't want anybody like this on my roster. So, maybe something like that, but it would have to be like outside of basketball to me. It would have to be like you did some horrible, horrible thing and you either got away with it or you weren't remorseful for it, or even if you were there, like whatever it is, like it would have to be something off the court.
And I wonder if the gist I get is that he's a good dude off the court. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think he's just very much a knucklehead on it.
Yeah. Dude, it would literally take Hog fans less than a day to talk themselves all the way in. And that includes whoever the hell is crying right now. It's really not that hard. Hell, we did it with John Calipari. I've always thought that was a little bit of an overblown thing of how hard would it be to add this? It's like, it does not take us that long. When someone chooses to be a hog, they're a hog.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, though, we're talking all the great grand things of everything Arkansas. There is one particular individual that if he became a Razorback, that I know for a fact I could not allow it and accept it, and it would take me a long time to do. I'm just being honest. And that's Eli Drinkwitz. If he ever became the head coach of Arkansas, I don't think I could do it. Man. I don't think I could do it. And I don't want him. Yeah. And I would say I don't want him. I never want him. But if it just so happened to happen, that would be one where I'm like, I cannot deal with it. Cannot happen.
It's definitely harder with coaches because that's like the leader. That's the face of your program. Players, I really do think it won't take even a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. It wouldn't at all. Because again, I want good players. That's all I care about. I don't care if they're likable or not. I want them to be good. That's what I think people sometimes get in their own heads of like, well, what would my kid be like? Well, I would never let my kid be like that, or I would never be like that. Okay, that's fine. But what do you want? What's your number one priority when it comes to your fandom? You want your team to win. And if it's winning, who cares? Now, if they lose because this guy's acting a fool and he's playing terrible and you want to be critical of it, then fine. That's fair game. But if they're succeeding and it's all going well and he's a jerk, I don't care. I really don't care. I just want to win. I want success to happen. That's all I'm saying. So, but either way, this is fun. I like talking about potential scenarios that could really make me happy and get everybody fired up. Because what do you think I'm curious, what do you think the Auburn reaction would be with Baker Mazara going to Arkansas? Do you think they would care? Are they glad he's gone? Is it like
that's why I paged Quinn?
Yeah, we need him. Come on, Quinn.
I don't think Auburn fans, I will say this, like seriously, I don't think Auburn fans are like devastated over him entering the portal. That wasn't the vibe I got just from my quick search on Twitter. I do think it would definitely rub them wrong, whether they would admit it or not. It would definitely rub them wrong if he went to Arkansas. But I really don't think they're going to be like, they're not going to be in our mentions every day like Kentucky fans.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, especially because they went to the Final Four. It's not like, I don't think, could be wrong. I don't think any Auburn fans would be like, I tried to tell you with Baker Mazara, tried to tell you he was a bad egg. He was a bad apple. He's going to cost you wins. Like, well, he was on your team and you guys went to the Final Four and it didn't really cost you any wins. So
here's the thing I think from the Auburn fan standpoint of it. If I'm reading the room correctly over there right now, it's not so much about, or I should say, it's more about him being the guy that he is, right? The polarizing figure and the lengths that they have gone to defend him through all that, and then he dips. And so I've seen the switch up pretty quick of people like, some of them are like, man, after the way we embrace him with all the shenanigans or whatever, this is crazy. And other people like, yeah, honestly, in hindsight, shouldn't have defended him at all.
So I went through a little bit of something with James Harden. You guys familiar with his work? Because obviously he's a very polarizing, if he's not on your team, you hate him type of guy. I used to defend James Harden like it was my job. And so whenever he kind of forced his way out of Houston, it was tough because I understood why. But I was like, dude, after all like we've done, trying to like defend your free throw merchant style, and you're just gonna force your way out like that rubbed me wrong. So I bet there is a little bit of that. That's a good point.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Again, it hasn't happened yet. It could happen. And if it happens, just be prepared, Razorback fans, because I'm going to add Chad Baker Mazara to the no slander list. All right. If it happens, and he ain't coming off of it unless, he does something stupid, and then I'll take him off, but still just be prepared in case it happens. So, all right. With that being said, I know we have a lot of people here in the chat. That's all fired up, and we'll get to it. And of course, a little vibe check is presented by our friends at Basis Health, where they're changing the way healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. A doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. I know a lot of people are wondering, like, how in the world does that work? Is like, why not just, shouldn't we just call an ambulance and do it that way too? But we're talking about they handle it all. They take care of you. They go to you and they make sure that they have licensed doctors at the highest level helping you out by the comfort of your own home. So you don't have to worry about showing up to the doctor's office and waiting forever, because that's what it's about. But they are here for when you need it and where you need it the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today. It's basishealth.org. All right. So for your chats, at least the good ones, go easy on us, but did want to do a little super chat action. Appreciate Joffre saying Miles Bridges situation fans couldn't support. LOL.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Let's see. David just said, he's like, poll question, would you welcome Chad Baker Mazara if he wanted to come to Arkansas? I think we ran into that one. So yeah, we would. Bring him on down, just like Price is Right.
Get him in here.
This from Hog Barbecue says, I'd take John if he could help us win. Thank you.
I'd even talk myself into John Neighbors.
I'd get off the ledge, from jumping if even John Neighbors was going to help us win out. So,
it actually pissed me off if John, it turned out, just like could have been helping Arkansas win all along and was just yapping away.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, you could stretch the floor. Like, wow, you never told us.
Yeah, I just like to keep all my hidden talents, hidden, and I don't want to help anybody else, especially the Hogs. I would never want to help out the Hogs.
No, of course not.
Let's see. Bits from me says that would be so disrespectful of CBM to commit to an in-conference rival after Pearl said he wanted him back. Well, tough tip, man. Way to go. Sorry.
I mean, and let's talk about that for a minute here, because from the sounds of it, he's under contract. And then shout out to Auburn, I guess, for putting those protections for themselves in there. If there is a buyout, I've heard that it's hefty, but like, what does that mean? Like, there's no precedent for that. A hefty buyout for an NIL contract could be $50,000. It could be $1 million. Like, I have no idea. You know what I mean? So that's interesting. But why would he hit the portal? He's pissed off about something. Otherwise, there's just no reason for it to happen. Either he's upset, or maybe he saw the bag that Keyshawn Hall got and was like, "Yo, I've been doing that here, right?" And so maybe you need to up me, and they didn't want to do it, or there were some we'll just say schools out there who were able to get information to him on what they had to offer should he enter the portal. Maybe it's a combination of both.
I also wonder, like, all season long, as a coach, you're always thinking ahead. Do you think Auburn knew for sure that he would have eligibility and that he could be back? Like, you think they were maybe operating as if he were gone, and then it's like, oh, I've got this extra eligibility, and it's like,
yeah, like when the JUCO thing hit, and then it's like, oh, well.
Yeah, it's like, so like they were probably like months ago, which, by the way, there was some stuff talking about January, and that's whenever some of this was happening. Like, I wonder if at that point Auburn was kind of operating, building their roster, reaching out to guys as if they needed to replace him, which they kind of did go out there and do with Keyshawn Hall. And so, yeah, I wonder if that's a factor in this, where he kind of wanted to be wanted again.
I don't know why I think this would be so funny, but if there was whatever the buyout is, if it was just simply that John Tyson had to write a check to the foundation there at Auburn, I'm donating to the Auburn Foundation, so if I need some good seats, let me know. But it would just be awesome if they received a check from literally John Tyson, and they say like, hey, John Tyson's a member now of the Auburn Foundation. It's like, actually, he just bought out a contract. So great. That's what I hope it happens. I just always assume that Tyson's there. Yeah. Let's see. Also, Walter White, love your show. Hated that you died. He said, how many minutes a game do you think Nick Pringle will get as of right now?
18.3.
I was literally getting ready to say 18.
Me too. But yeah, 18.3. It's fair. I don't know if how many big guys you want, or I would want playing like more than 25 minutes a game. If they're really great, maybe, but just if it's, on average.
The thing about Pringle is I don't think he's going to be able to play in tandem with Ewan, or I would advise against that probably. So that's kind of where I'm at. He played 24 and a half at South Carolina this year. But it's a much different team, obviously, at Arkansas. I look back to 2 years ago at Bama on that Final Four team, and they had a bunch of different bodies in there. He played 18.2. So I think that might be the wheelhouse there for him. And there'll be some games where, he might wind up playing 30 or something because they need that physicality or Ewan struggling or whatever. But that feels about right.
Yeah, I feel like he will average more in non-conference than he averages in conference.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring up this chat, but just out of curiosity, guys, does Mrs. Cal have Twitter? I know she has Instagram. She does not. Does she have Twitter?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Because this person's over here saying that she's tweeting about CBM. And I'm like, I don't think that's right.
No way.
Yeah, I don't.
Ellen is not out here firing off brunch tweets about Chad Baker Mazara.
No.
It'd be awesome.
And the only way it'd be is if maybe Cal is walking out to take the trash out with Chad Baker Mazara, and she's videoing it. That'll be the only reason she would probably say anything about it.
The Calipari daughters are active.
Yeah.
On social media.
Which is it? Which one was the one? Which one was the one that was at the games? It wasn't Aaron, right? It was the other one. Megan. Okay, yeah. Because one of them's a doctor. I think it's Dr. Aaron. But let's see. Also, Logan. Shout out to our guy Logan. What is that picture?
That would be me and Curtis's heads matched together.
Ooh. Dude, okay, sorry.
I almost said earlier, Logan, we're not bringing up any of your chats today, bro.
That's no offense, guys. That looks awful. That looks
Curtis
bad.
and I should not have a love child, you're saying?
No. Well, I'm glad somebody else is getting their pictures manipulated and whatnot on this show. Thank goodness.
Dude, that's
but he
insane,
says,
bro.
He says going from Papa Joe to Papa Chad would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Why does that look like Weird Al Yankovic?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which, by the way, coming to the AMP this summer.
Shout out
We
to
know who will be there.
Oh yeah, we do.
yeah. Yeah, we do. Let's see. Also, he's also Logan was saying, "Good afternoon, fellas. The old heads would not like CBM."
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's gonna be a lot
they
of
don't
people
like a
that are
lot of
angry about
things.
it.
Well, that's
They
why
don't
it
like a lot
cracks
of
me
things.
up that, which this is any player with a pulse who hits the portal, you immediately see over at KSR, Kentucky expected to be involved with so-and-so. And it's been the same thing with Chad Baker-Mazara. I cannot think of a worse fit of any player and program than CBM at Kentucky.
What are you trying to say? He doesn't have that confidence? You don't think he
Dude,
has that confidence
Chad
with him?
Baker-Mazara would be stuffing Mark Pope in a locker. He would not be putting up with any of the BS Mark Pope says
No,
to him. He'd be like, "Shut up, nerd! Don't talk to me."
You can't take that man to a petting zoo and expect him to commit either. So, I mean, I don't know about that one.
Curtis, you know when Baby Billy's talking to BJ and he's like, "Get out, go on, nerd, get out of here." That would literally be Chad Baker-Mazara in the locker room when Mark Pope tries to say anything.
Man, I thought you were referencing the Shane Gillis skit when he was talking about the presidential debates when Trump was like saying, "Hey, your wife's ugly," and everyone's like, "Oh." Then they're like, "Oh, let's settle down here. Hey, shut up, nerd. You ugly wife." You know, like everything. It's just that how it'd be. Be like, "Hey, guys, let's just settle down here. Hey, shut up. You don't know what you're doing." Like that would exactly what it would be like. I love from Screw the Wokes. This roster without adding anyone else is easily better. Talking about the question from the show is like, we have 5 McDonald's All-Americans, TB, and 2 bruisers. So I guess you do technically have 5, right?
Do they have 5?
No, you only have 4. Because Boogie was the 5th. Boogie would have been the 5th.
Pringle an All-American back in the day? I really don't remember.
No. I think like Billy was a 5-star on some of the recruiting services, but he wasn't a burger boy.
Gotcha.
So it's Carter, DJ, Darius, and Malik, I think, unless I'm forgetting somebody.
But yeah, we've got a McDonald's MVP, so that counts as 2 burger boys.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the double quarter pounder.
I don't know if I can go better just yet, but it's tough because you just don't know what you're going to get out of those 2 freshmen. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Super talented. They might be awesome. And then, hey, you're right. But it's hard to say right now. And I'm having a hard time getting there until they get another body at the 4. I know people are worried about hurting Trevin's feelings. Don't care. That's ridiculous. Teams have depth. There's competition at positions. That's just the way sports and life works. But they got to get somebody there, and they really got to get some shooting. Even if they didn't get, Chad Baker-Mazara or Jameer Watkins or whoever, you got to get somebody who can come in and make some freaking shots, man. I mean, this is ridiculous. So
I don't know if this is the hot take or if this is going to make people sad, but I actually don't think there's going to be like a massive gap in like talent or production or like, skill. Like I don't think like this roster, even when it's at its full, when they round it out, I like the roster better. I like the kind of the direction they're headed. I think it will be a better, deeper, more complete roster, but like I don't think last year's roster was bad. Call me crazy. I don't know.
I don't either. And there's always, opportunities to go back and be like, but if, like if all these things, all these circumstances were different, then the outcome would have been different. But if Arkansas's 9 guys were healthy all season, they, I'm not saying they would have made it further in the Sweet 16, but they would have had a better regular season outcome than they did.
Yeah.
And Arkansas already has more scholarship guys, right? They have 10 now, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just making sure. And so, I do think there's a path to, this roster being more complete, deeper, a little bit more talent. Like I think the 2 freshmen are better than the top 2 freshmen. Like I think you can make the case, but I really don't think it's going to be like a massive, like this one's way better. I think it's going to be better, slightly better.
I like this from a Kentucky fan. He says, Patrick says, as a Kentucky fan, seems Pope has overcompensated last year lack of athleticism by not focusing on shooting. Do you feel that Cal is lacking in shooting with this year's roster or banking on improvement?
Well, first, I think I'm with you on that assessment of Kentucky. I mean, they've definitely solved some athletic deficits there, and they're probably going to be better defensively than they were. But not a whole lot of knockdown shooting there with Arkansas. I mean, you're a Kentucky fan, it just seems like Cal has been very hesitant to embrace the 3-pointer. It's like he existed before the 3-point line was a thing, and he just hasn't bought all the way in, I guess. But it's just not a big priority for him. It never has. Now he usually goes out and has a sniper of sorts. I mean, he had Antonio Reeves and Kellen Grady, and like he would always usually go out in the portal and get a guy. And that's kind of what I'm waiting on here. But his teams, even the one that led the country in 3-point percentage a couple years ago with Reed Shepherd and all those dudes, they were way, way, way down there on volume and attempts. So he just he doesn't prioritize it that much, which drives me nuts after 5 years of Eric Musselman. But here we are.
Yeah.
There will be a time, I can promise you, that Arkansas will have a solid 3-point shooting team. I promise you it will happen one day. I promise. So, yeah, we appreciate everybody tapping in. We'll get to more of your chats, folks, so keep those coming because we're going to have some fun with those later in the show, too, and getting some other things as well. But I did want to get into our Alumni Hall question of the day presented by Alumni Hall, which, by the way, we're going to be there tomorrow. I know that we have mentioned the double header that's going to be happening tomorrow for Razorback baseball. So it's going to be a little change of pace, but we are going to be out there at noon starting then. And we are also going to be doing our show from there, and we're going to have a lot of fun. It's always fun going out to Alumni Hall. And if you can show up and see us and say what's up, maybe give us a fist bump, that tell us how beautiful we are. All you got to do is use that code HOGSBY20, get 20% off your purchase. And they have all the great stuff. And another thing, too, that's going to be really cool that we're adding into it is that you'll have when you come in there, you'll have a chance to put your name in a drawing for an autographed Ben Bybee baseball. See, look at that. Look at that. There's Ben Bybee, and there's him holding a baseball with his autograph. So that's going to be happening tomorrow, too. So coming out, if you purchase something between 12 and 1:30, when we're going to be live there, you will automatically be entered into the drawing. And then whoever wins at the end of the show will pull it. You get to win it. You get that Bybee, who I'm sure is going to be the number 1 overall pick in the MLB draft one day. You'll be able to have it. And it's going to be happening at Alumni Hall. So tomorrow, before you go to the Razorback baseball game, come hang out with us starting at noon at Alumni Hall, 3417 North College Avenue there in Fayetteville. So just out of curiosity, I asked this question, and I know, Andrew, you're the baseball guy, but game on the line, Texas A&M rubber match. I guess now it's going to be on Friday night, but rubber match, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, runner at third. Who do you want at the plate? Who do you want batting?
So, John, it was interesting that you got so many people that were like, oh, this is an easy one. Because I actually don't think this is easy at all. Like, I think Arkansas has like 5 guys you could make a real argument for. Hell, Vahiva Aloy, mere days ago, was up in this situation. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, hit a home run to extend the game. Like, he's also been pretty clutch. He's also probably the best overall player on the team. I think a very strong argument could be made for Vahiva. Brent Iredale is a guy that is struggling right now. Everybody's kind of down on Brent Iredale. I think he deserves some consideration here. The reason I'm going Charles Davalon, which I think maybe that's who people say is the obvious easy one, which, you know, I could hear the case for. He's third on the team in average, hitting 380, but he's also worked a ton of walks, worked 23 walks, only struck out 12 times. He has 12 home runs and 12 strikeouts, which is pretty unreal because he's basically doing as much damage in the power department as anyone on the team. He's getting on base as much as anyone on the team, and he's striking out way less than anyone on the team. And it doesn't matter. He hits lefties pretty well, too. I mean, left-handed bat. A lot of times you think, oh, left on left, this guy's a tough matchup. He hits lefties pretty well, too. He's hitting over 300 against lefties. I think there's just not really a weakness in his game. And so that's why I'd probably go him. But, like, I'm certainly not going to argue with anyone too bad if they're like, I'd rather have Kahio Aloy. And I'm like, okay, sure.
Mm-hmm. So, sorry, which player did you go
Charles
with?
Davalon is my answer.
Davalon, yeah. Curtis, do you have a?
I will take the opposite just for the sake of argument with Kahio. Why not?
Yeah,
okay.
My man.
Okay. Well,
honestly, you can't go wrong with any form of Hawaiian, but we'll stick with that one.
Yeah, maybe not Souza right now in his current state because he's in a sling. But yes, you're right.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that would be something.
Just you imagine the roar of the crowd. He steps up, drops the sling, steps into the box with a torpedo bat, and.
Yeah. It's funny. The last time A&M was at Baum Walker, Peyton Stovall pretty much did that.
Yes,
you remember that, John, when he had a home run with a torn
grand slam?
Yeah, he ended up having the surgery like a week later, and they were like, "This dude had an extremely torn labrum." Still hit a grand slam though.
Yeah. Well, the choices I gave were Charles Davalon, Kahio Aloy, and Koziel. I keep saying, is it Koziel or Koziel?
I think we're supposed to say Joel.
Koziel. Okay. I gave those 3 choices, and the other option
the other way.
Dave says a lot of things wrong.
However
Dave
he wants.
Still calls him Bahava Aloy. I'm
Yeah.
like, where are you getting hay? The hay,
Yeah.
though. Where are you getting that from, dude?
It kind of reminds me of like in the Office episode when Andy tries to go by Drew now, and he tells Jim, he's like, "Oh, I'm going by Drew now." He's like, "I'm not going to say that." Kind of
Yeah.
like what Dave Van Hornsby like, "Hey, he gets his name corrected." He's like, "I'm not saying that." All right, we'll just go with it. But either way, I gave those 3 players and then another list, which people were like, "Oh, what? You forgot this?" I took the top 3 hitters on the team right now in batting average. That's
Yeah.
why. And so right now, Charles Davlon, not surprising, winning at 49%. But Kahio Aloy at 29% with the votes, 16.3% with Kojal, and other at 6%. So I guess the 3 choices I put out there were right because those are the 3 that everyone voted on the most. So either way. But let's hey, who knows? Arkansas may be in that position. They have to make it happen, and it'll be fun to see whoever is in that spot. But of course, it'll probably be the least likely person up there to hit it and get the walk off. Whether it's Thomas or who knows, maybe Rocco Pepe comes in and ends up taking care of business there, something like that. So
hell, Gabe Frazier, the freshman the other day, came off the bench and hit the go-ahead triple in Arkansas's 1 win against Georgia. That's the fun thing. That's what's cool about this lineup is it actually is a pretty hard conversation to have. You can just pretty much pick all of them.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that too, since we're on the baseball side of things, we mentioned it that they had to have a schedule change. There's rain's going to be happening on Saturday, and they're trying to get ahead of it. Well, this is tough though. This is kind of what happens when you have a Thursday series and everything. But either way, tonight's game will go on as scheduled for tonight at Baum Walker. Then tomorrow, they have rescheduled it to have a doubleheader starting at 2 p.m. for first game there on Friday. And then the second game will happen an hour after game 1 concludes. So just to give everybody an update on that. And I want to read this verbatim so there's no confusion. Saturday tickets are the only tickets valid for admittance on the rescheduled game on Friday afternoon. Following that game, fans will be required to vacate the stadium and hog pen before gates reopen for fans with a Friday game ticket. Friday tickets are only valid for the second game of the day, which will begin an hour after the completion of the game. Gates for the second game will not open to until fans have been cleared from the stadium following the first game. So
Sam Pittman read that email and he's like, hell yeah. So the Friday game is a Saturday game. Friday game 1, that's the Saturday game. And then after that, we're going to play the Friday game.
Oh,
after we play the Saturday game, then we're going to play the Friday game. And then Monday's practice will actually be a Tuesday practice.
I don't get it. We were talking about it before the show, Andrew's like, I don't understand. I'm sure there's a reason. Like maybe they base it on which game has the most tickets sold and they try to make that a priority. I don't know, but I felt like it would just be an easy thing to just move things where it's like, hey, instead of doing it Friday, Saturday, or whatever, just do game 1, game 2, game 3. All right.
Right.
You have game 1 ticket, you go to game 1. You got game 2 ticket, you go to the second game. You got game 3 ticket, go like, I don't understand why. I'm sure there's a reason, but I just don't understand why that had to be complicated like that. So anyways.
Yeah, I guess they don't.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I guess they don't want people showing up for the Friday night game with their, I guess that would be their Friday tickets. And then people that had tickets to the Saturday game in there. And so they're making them clear out. But I'm like, man, it kind of sucks to clear out the stadium and make them re-enter.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, maybe that is the point is like, if somebody made plans to be there on Friday night and they can't get off work or whatever, and they have those tickets, then if they got moved up and then they were kind of screwed because they didn't have Saturdays, maybe that's the case. But I don't know. I feel bad because I don't know really what the true answer is for this. I really don't. But
the Saturday game is the one that's impacted. So trying to make those the only people having to make concessions, I guess. I don't know. But there's not a good answer.
Yeah.
Imagine you are coming in town and you bought tickets for the Saturday game. That's the one game you can go to. And now that game is being played at 2 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. And also, like we talked about too, it kind of is going to be weird. Friday night, the series is over. Like it's just, we know if Arkansas, Texas A&M, that series is done Friday night. And
it's like 24 hours and you've got the entire series over and just, it's weird.
I hate it. But either way, game's going to go on. So come to Alumni Hall before you go to the game, first game tomorrow, because we'll be there right beforehand and get your Razorback gear all geared up for the game. 2 games. Some of you may be going to the doubleheader there tomorrow. So a few more chats here too. Howard wanted to know what section y'all in tonight at Baum. Whatever section we want to be in, that's the section we're in. So I don't know. I know Andrew goes to all the games. I try to go to all the games too. It's a hodgepodge, man. You never know where we're going to end up. It's like
could be anywhere in the park, bro. We really genuinely don't know.
Yeah, we could be behind the first row behind home plate one game, or we could be out in the hog pen, with the weirdos. So You just never really know what's going to be happening.
Wow. More shots at the hog pen from John.
Gosh,
Wow.
man.
Yeah. Well, SCT's out. Well, we'll see you later. So let's see. I don't want to bring this one up too, because I don't know what he's like. Student section says, "Hey, Curse and Andrew, why did you guys stop doing post game shows for the hoops team for like the last 3 weeks? Y'all didn't at all. Like you did literally every game."
He's
a
notorious troll, the student.
Okay.
He also asked if retaining Melo Sanchez was the biggest move of the offseason so far for Arkansas, which
that's hilarious.
He also left, but yeah, it's
that's good. That's so funny, man.
He's picking at us.
Cool. Lance, appreciate the super chat. He says Arkansas could sign MJ Bird, Magic, David Robinson, Karl Malone, and BBN would still claim that they have the better team. They are that delusional.
Correct.
That's true.
You want to talk about people you'd have to look past their wrongdoings? Karl Malone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do think it's funny too that I can't wait for next year. I'm just going to make it to where if Arkansas wins a national championship, that classic Cal, man, winning a title. I'm really hoping that does go away, but at the same time, I really hope it doesn't. Like, oh man, Arkansas ends up having a great season. Yeah, classic Cal, get ready. Like at one point, would that ever end? I don't know if it ever will, but still, I look forward to it.
Every time a player has a good game next year, I'm going to quote tweet it with, "I heard Kentucky's interested in the portal." Strong BBN lean.
Yeah. Then I keep taking like little phrases and this is a player to watch. You know, like it's just be on the lookout for this guy. Like, how do you know? You just because he entered in?
To be fair, we do have Arkansas folks that do the same thing. Every single player that enters the portal, they're like, "Hey, watch out for this one."
And it's dumb. Stop doing it. Like it's if you got some actual intel, that's one thing, but just don't. It just pisses me off. This is the stuff that really just boils my nuggets every time I see somebody just do something like this. I'm like, why? Like you're just saying things. You're saying things. There's no reason to it. So
I will say, I do think that adds to some of the hysteria. But before Arkansas started getting commits and people were really panicked, it's because you read on Twitter, "Oh, Arkansas could be in on this guy. They could be in on this guy. They could be in on this guy." The reality is, I don't know how strong of a push Arkansas made for a lot of those guys. I'm sure they were involved in some battles. They were in some top threes. But when you have guys on Twitter who literally every single player, they're like, "Yeah, watch out for Arkansas and this guy," and then it doesn't happen, it kind of conditions your brain to think things are going worse than they actually are.
Also, I meant to bring this up when we were talking about baseball too. Trey says, will the baseball be doubleheader by 2-inning games or 2 7-inning games or full games?
It'll be 2 full games. And it's, of course, everything's subject to change. The reason they do the 7-inning thing is because you have the SEC actually needs to clean up their travel day rules. And so no matter whether it's a Sunday or a Saturday, in this case, it would have been Saturday. Had they had to do the doubleheader then, it would have been 2 7-inning games because they have these weird rules. It doesn't matter in this case. It also kind of sucks that like they can't postpone to Sunday. They can't, even though, it's Easter Sunday this case, but it's like once you start the series, like a 3-day window. They're very weird about that. But no, since it's not the travel day, it's the day before, they can play 1,000 innings if they want.
You can do whatever they want. I want you guys' thoughts on this. I tweeted out yesterday and got a lot of different responses, but I want you guys' thoughts. This Razorback helmet was put up by the official Razorback football Twitter account, and just doing some pictures. What do y'all make of that helmet? Cool? Not cool? Don't care? What?
It's not my favorite, but I think the idea is cool. I'm all for different, mixing it up. That's one thing I liked about Muss was that they had so many alternate uniforms, and not all of them were hits by any mean, but I like mixing it up. So I think they could have done a better job with that, but I would love to see them wear it. I'm also a fan of the anthracite, boys. So I don't know that I'm the authority on changing things up with the Razorback uniforms and helmets, but I wouldn't mind seeing them get iced out a little bit like that.
Certainly would not. I'm confused by this little black that's in front of the logo. Is that just kind of is that just an illusion? Like, or is that like
I think it's like almost, I could be wrong, but it looks like it's almost like going along with the design of the helmet. And
I don't love the little black, the little skunk mark there. I do like the white helmets in general, though. Hell, y'all remember when we were doing the video game stuff? I kept insisting on us changing the uniforms and giving, let's do white helmets or whatever. The only time I can remember Arkansas wearing red tops, white helmets was that Rutgers game that they lost, and they never did it again. They every now and then they do the all white, which I like when they do that. I would love to see Arkansas use the white helmet, not all the time, but twice a year, something like that.
Yeah, and then maybe because I'm an old, but I hate the anthracite. I always have hated anthracite because to me, I never saw Arkansas with anthracite in their logo. I did see black though. Like I still think it'll never happen because Arkansas doesn't do cool stuff. But I still think it'd be so cool for a game this year, if it's a night game, whatever it is, to do a legit blackout, not an anthracite out, but like every color on your uniform is black except for the lettering and the hog. Like you have that exact white hog right there on a black helmet. And then you have a black uniform, same design and everything, but with white lettering, black pants, black. Just do all black. And I think that'd be really cool. But I don't know. I'll give it a chance with the helmet. We'll see what they, put it together with. But I don't know. It's something different. And Pittman's been very not like going into doing different things. So.
Which, by the way, I'm okay with. Like, it doesn't bother me, that they do want to just keep it, because I think a lot of teams get too experimental with their uniforms. I don't want them to start doing all these wacky, crazy things, but just mixing it in every now and then. When the recruits come on visits and they take pictures of the uniform, how many times do they do a black or an anthracite or a white helmet or whatever? Kids want to wear that kind of stuff, and I know that's an oversimplification. You can't let them do whatever they want, but I think there's something to it. If look good, play good, feel good, all that.
Yeah. New look, new team, new attitude, new result.
Exactly.
Right. I think that's where I'm at there. Although you're just mentioning the visit pics, the uniform that Malik Ewan that they had on him in that graphic, throw that damn thing away.
See, but Malik didn't make that decision. I don't think. I think that was just something. I wonder. Did we get a big picture of him in a jersey?
I don't know. I don't know if we got the actual picture of him. I haven't looked at his Instagram though to see if he put that stuff out yet. But the one that they chose was the wrong one.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
Yeah, I cooked up a bad one.
Can't do it with that one.
Yeah, that was disgusting. I never want to see anything like that again. But I just don't understand
why.
Like
the pinks? The basketball pinks.
Oh yeah,
they're fine.
I love the pinks.
What about the camos?
Yeah,
okay,
whatever.
You can always get away with wearing anything once. You know what I mean? Like if you start doing it multiple times and it's a thing, okay, I don't love that. But like, when they did the Jerry Jones uniform that one time, the Cowboys uniform, when they did the cool 64 throwback, it's cool if you do it once. There's a lot of things that you can get away with doing once.
Yeah. Which, by the way, people were asking me like, oh, like you mean the anthracite? I was talking about black. No, I'm talking about these ones right here that Taylor Green wore at the spring game, like that. Just everyone wear that with black helmets. I think it'd be really cool.
I like that.
Yeah,
I'm down for that. That's good. It's a good call.
All I'm saying there. Let's see.
Did you guys like those PK85s?
Yeah, I did.
They were pretty solid.
Yeah. Remember when for a minute there? I don't think Arkansas ever did it. Did they? When it was like the sleeved basketball jerseys.
Yeah.
Well,
I remember Michigan State's for one. I think the NBA was doing some of it, and it was just
the Warriors had one for a while. The Cavs, like when LeBron did the block, he was wearing a sleeved jersey.
We did it at Lindenwood because we wanted to be cool, and I freaking hated them, man. Absolutely hated them.
I'm gonna be honest. I hate all sleeves in basketball, short sleeves, long sleeves, any sleeve. I hate it. I hate the way it looks. And if certain players wear it, whatever, if you play good, that's fine. But I just hate it. I hate the look of it.
Delts.
Yeah.
You don't like Billy Richmond's halfway down the arm tee, his cotton ass t-shirt.
No, I don't like that at all. There was a guy I remember. I think it was at Oklahoma during like the Blake Griffin years. He wore long sleeves, but it was like almost baggy-ish. I'm like, how do you feel that helps you in basketball? I just don't understand it, but each their own. No one cares what I think. Let's see. Colt. Oh, that's a cool way of spelling Colt.
Colt Rover.
Yeah. Said, do we not wear white helmets, red jersey, white pants for the Texas A&M game when Bumper Pool played?
I don't remember for sure. I remember them wearing all white one time. Maybe that's it, but I don't remember them wearing white helmets.
Remember the Ohio State helmets, the Ohio State uniforms that they wore.
They did wear those Ohio State uniforms at one time.
Yeah, that's another one I don't want to see back. But I guess you're not playing at Jerry World anytime soon, so you won't have to worry about that. So either way, but we'll get to more of your chats, folks. Keep those coming. We appreciate it. But we'll do also some what's more likely here, presented by our friends over at BetSaracen. Go to the BetSaracen app, download it today in the state of Arkansas. It's the number one sports betting app for a reason, because it's the best, and it's nothing even comes close. They got all the specials for this weekend for Razorback baseball, as well as all the other things going on in the sports world. Doesn't have to just be here locally, but they have it all. You can download on your iPhone or on your Android, or you can go to BetSaracen.com and get into winning today with BetSaracen. I did want to bring up a few other random storylines that were pretty big deal. But what did y'all make of the announcement that Lee Corso is going to be having his final college game day on the very first week? The first game of the college football season this year will be his final game with College Game Day.
It's time, man. And it's going to be, I mean, it's really sad. I mean, he's an icon, a legend. And that's why it's been so difficult the last couple of years here, because you don't want to let go of that because of everything that, I mean, he symbolizes everything that is College Game Day, but it's also, there comes a point in time where it's time. It's sad. Like, you feel bad. Shout out to Kirk and the guys for recognizing the situation. I think they've done a good job of handling it. But you also know that he loves it still, and that's why he continues to come back and do it. But gonna be cool. I'm be looking forward to hearing him one more time and seeing which mascot head he throws on, and it'll be sad moment.
It's definitely going to be sad. It's going to be an emotional, saying goodbye. I'm glad that we get like one more with him, like one last one, which, by the way, would not be stunned if that comes around and they're like, actually, we're not going to do that. Like, would not be stunned. This is the right decision. I mean, we've kind of talked about it for a while, and nobody wants to be the guy that's like, hey, get this guy off the set. But it's been 4 or 5 years now where, they've had to kind of carry him through it. You can tell he's, he's getting up there, and like you said, like he is College Game Day. He made it what it is. And so it's, it'll kind of never be the same, but at the same time, like, you kind of have to embrace, like, they've got to move forward at some point. And so I look forward to that final episode, and we're going to say goodbye. And I can't wait to see all the like clips people post and like the memories. I mean, he's a legend of the game, but also of that network and that program. And it is going to be sad, but it's time.
Yeah. And I feel the same way. And I'm someone who gets very cynical. I know it's surprising about people in broadcasting that overstay their welcome, and just become too much of a character, become too much of a person that's not like, just not what they used to be, or not everything. But Corso is one of those to where, like, he's going to be he is iconic, but just for me, college football, when growing up as a kid, like, I correlated College Game Day, Lee Corso especially, with college football as much as any single thing. I mean, it's going to be so crazy to see him no longer being a part of it. I mean, and how cool it was. It was much watch TV I don't watch it as much anymore because it's just, it's become a lot. But man, there was nothing better than seeing just those three guys on the stage talk about all the games and doing a couple of videos here and there, and then at the end waiting to see which mascot he put on the head. So I'm going to be cutting onions that day, dude. Like, it's going to be sad, and I hate it for him. And but I understand, like you said, Curtis, it's time. And I just, I knew it was going to happen at some point, but it's just going to be really sad. So it has to be the Texas-Ohio State game, right? It has to be the final one, because it started with the Ohio State game where he put the Buckeye on his head, and Texas-Ohio State's one of the first games of the year. It's got to be that one. Has to be that one.
You'd think.
So, but yeah, I'm going to be sad to see that go. And hopefully they don't try to replace him. I think like Pat McAfee's kind of been maybe that personality that they've added in. I don't have a problem with Pat McAfee, but hopefully they don't try to keep doing the mascot head stuff like that.
My lifelong dream was that Les Miles would be the new Lee Corso. Like, I thought he was like, he is made in a lab to be the eccentric, weird guy. Because you know how Lee Corso is, where there's a lot of people growing up that are like, wait, this guy used to coach? I think Les Miles would have been that type of personality. I also think Houston Nutt, got to be honest. I know we, not everyone among us loves Houston Nutt. I think he has a great personality. If he went into full bit territory, he wasn't as good on TV when he was at CBS because he was like trying to be professional. Don't need that. But I hope one day there's a college football coach that ends up, and I know Saban's on there now, but that we get like the weird geriatric, eccentric college football coach to kind of fill that void. And I do think Pat McAfee, I know he's very polarizing. I think he does a pretty good job for what he's asked to do.
Yeah. No, I like Pat McAfee. Okay. It's not like he's so great. Can't wait to see what happens. But I've never had a problem with him and everything. But yeah, just no more mascot heads. Just let that be Corso's thing.
Definitely let that be his thing. I just meant like replace him in terms of the the presence of the craziness.
You know what's really sad though, too, guys, is that Arkansas has only had it one time, College Game Day, once in the history of everything. Every other SEC school has had College Game Day on their campus since Arkansas did. Every single other one. Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Missouri, all these other programs have had it since Arkansas.
You think they'll have will we be trying to talk ourselves into the Notre Dame game next year?
I'm sure there'll be a talk of it.
There's one every year, where we're like, and just feels like you might need to catch it early to justify that for Arkansas.
That's what everyone's doing. Is like, all right, get it early before they realize we suck.
It's got to be a week slate. There's nothing going on in college football that week.
They play? Who do they play right before that?
Alabama A&M. Oh,
yeah. I think it's Ole Miss.
Yeah. So Alabama A&M, Arkansas State, Ole Miss, Memphis. Jeez. And then
it could have. The wheels could have come off by then.
So anyway.
Yeah. I saw some tweet at me when I was discussing that. They're like, they need to come to Arkansas State because it's the first time it's ever happened. I'm like, they will not do that. They will not even mention that game between Arkansas and Arkansas State.
Is that in War Memorial or is that Alabama A&M in War Memorial?
No, that one's in War Memorial.
The Arkansas State?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there ain't no shot in hell game days going to that. Nor should they.
No.
Perfect setup on the golf course. What are you talking about?
It's no longer a golf course, Curtis. It's just a big field now. Not even that. Anyways, because I guess in Razorback basketball just had College Game Day one time, and that was literally like last season. Yeah, against Kentucky, and even then, I remember when that happened. We were all talking like, why? Like, of all the games, why?
What I'm about to say is probably inaccurate. I feel like they only do like 3 College Game Day basketball games a year. Like, do they do it every Saturday?
I think they do. Could be wrong.
I think never see it.
Especially once football's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like maybe like starting in the month of January they start doing it.
Yeah. My conference play gets going.
Like I could not tell you what schools have or have not been doing basketball game day.
Duke and North Carolina get it twice a year.
Yes.
That much I remember.
Because that's the only game that exists in college basketball is that game. But yeah, still. Let's see. I guess we can do a little bit what's more likely, but unfortunately I was an idiot and forgot to put it in there and do it that way, but that's okay. Yeah. Don't clip that one, folks, please. And don't use that one. How about this one since we were talking about it? What's more likely? Chad Baker Mazara goes to Arkansas or goes to a team outside the SEC?
Probably a team outside the SEC if we're just playing the numbers game here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, Arkansas is going to be in there. But how many, there's 300 some odd teams outside. So I would say more likely that he goes elsewhere.
It's just a math equation.
Yeah.
I could also see him going to just like a blue blood, like a Gonzaga, somewhere like a big school outside the SEC. I definitely and maybe I'm just misreading this. I don't think he's going to go to like a smaller school though.
No.
He's going to get paid by somebody for sure.
Ends up at Gonzaga, something like that ends up happening. This one was actually submitted.
It'd be interesting if he ended up at Gonzaga.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. This one in particular was just submitted, so I take no blame if it sucks. But Malik, what's more likely? Malik Ewan leads the team in rebounding next year, or Carter Knox leads the team in scoring next year?
Probably Ewan in rebounding.
Yeah, he's going to play a lot.
Yeah. And Knox will probably be my pick, I think, to lead the team in scoring. But there seems to be more competition there.
Yeah, I think they're both probably the favorite at their respective things here. I think Knox is probably less of a favorite than Ewan is. Although I will say TB's pretty good on the glass. Yeah.
I mean, I think that the rebounding one, I feel like I've gotten wrong every year where I kind of I think this guy is going to be leading the team in rebounding going into the season, and they never do. It's just almost like I suck at that stuff, but either way.
I get
I-
I'm starting to get irritated. And I shouldn't be this way, but getting these notifications and it's like Arkansas is expected to host so-and-so on a visit and it's football stuff now.
Oh, yeah, because I
Yeah.
just saw.
Got an edge rusher coming.
Yep, Fresno State cornerback transfer Julian Neal is set to visit Arkansas today. His dad says.
So they got a safety from UTEP, a defensive end from Troy, and a
corner from Fresno.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Hey, this corner from Fresno, for what it's worth, it ranks number 5, the number 5 available player right now according to the rankings. So not just at his position, like in the transfer portal. So
There you go.
there's something to it.
If you got in a legitimate, I would feel, I mean, like it's going to take a lot for me to really get like fired up for football, but if they landed like a legitimately good corner, if they landed a playable safety, and they landed the defensive lineman who has 5 sacks or whatever last year, just another guy, there would still need to be a lot, but I'd feel a little bit better about the defense at least.
Yeah, I would too. Let's see. Also, how about this one? I can't remember if I've asked this one before, so it may just be throwing back to way back when. But what's more likely, Razorback basketball or Razorback baseball to have a number 1 overall pick in the draft over the next 5 years?
Ooh, this is interesting. The reason I'm going to say baseball, one, because I mean they recruit at a high level. They're not going to have a number 1 pick this year. I don't think they'll have a number 1 pick next year. I don't know who that would be necessarily. Like I don't think Ryder Helfrich is going to go 1-1. But the reason I'm going to say baseball is because basketball, it seems like every year, damn near. I mean, this year you're going to have Cooper Flagg go number 1. There's like almost always an international prospect who's the best prospect in the draft. It seems like pretty much every year here lately. But I don't know. What do you think, Curtis?
I'll go Cal because it's Cal.
Yeah.
That's my only reasoning. Like he's done it before. Although I'm with you. It has been interesting because I guess Acuff's the top point guard and, Thomas, like both those guys are really, really up there. But who's the last like number 1 overall prospect in the class that Cal's got? I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I thought, wasn't DJ Wagner like the number 1 player?
No.
I'm trying to think. I really don't know. Like ever since that year where Coach K got 1, 2, and 3, Zion, RJ Barrett, and them, I feel like since then, I don't know if Cal's been getting the number 1 guy.
Well, I'll go with Cal too, just because, it's at some point in time, I think someone's going to bust through there. And I'm not saying it's easier, but I could see it. And Van Horn's had, what was that? I guess Kerstad was number 2 overall. That's the highest one, right? That Van
Kerstad
Horn
was 2. Smith was 5. Benny was 7. They've been flirting with it a little bit, but haven't quite gotten that one. I see our boy Logan here says Wiggins is his guess. Wiggins is interesting because Wiggins is draft eligible next year. And so I think for Wiggins to go number 1, he would probably need to like turn down a couple mil next year, like be draft eligible and then turn down money, come back as a junior and then be like a Paul Skeens type of starter. And then he could go number 1. Like he actually is. I mean, he literally has the hardest pitch in college baseball this year at 102. I think he actually is sneaky a candidate. Like not to actually, I mean, it's tough. We're talking about being number 1 overall. Like it's such there's a better chance of winning a Golden Spikes than going number 1 overall, but he might actually be like the most realistic path.
People keep trying to tell me here that DJ Wagner was the number 1 in his class, and I appreciate the commitment, but he was below Justin Edwards and Aaron Bradshaw in his own school's recruiting class. So like he wasn't number 1. So sorry.
Also, the final one is just random baseball one, but what's more likely, Arkansas to win in a walk-off or lose in a walk-off
this weekend?
Just in general. What do you feel better about them having that?
I think it's definitely win in a walk-off because they are at home.
Well, the reason let me preface the reason I'm asking is because we've seen both sides of it, them losing in a walk-off, but also winning in a walk-off. So it's a matter of
in their last 2 games.
Yeah. And so it's like, is it a matter of them being more clutch or them being bad news bears, bad luck at the end of games?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the obvious thing is you have to be the home team to walk someone off. So like, I don't know. I guess I'll go win on a walk-off because they've won on a walk-off a lot, whether that be run rule or just winning, like, taking the lead. I'll go win in a walk-off. They
Is it? Let me ask you this: what's more likely, Arkansas to win one of these games in a walk-off or win by run rule?
Well, hell, run rules it seems like it's always in play.
They just seem to be smacking people around a little bit, you know.
Maybe both. Maybe they win like the other day whenever you get that 10th run in the 7th inning or whatever, and there's your walk-off. So maybe both. But no, I think I could see a walk or I could see a run rule this weekend. Hell, A&M won a series and still got run ruled a couple weeks ago. So I could see Arkansas run rolling them one of these games.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be that. Well, actually, Andrew, they don't have to be the home team because if you're game 2 of a super regional, you get to be the home team in an away arena. So there's going to be someone that says that stuff to you, just letting you know. But either way, man, David, that comment you just made.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm going to bring it up. David says, what's more likely, John to get engaged or Mrs. Andrew to get pregnant?
That's
Yo.
I mean, just scientifically and mathematically, it's probably my girl getting pregnant.
But that's not on the radar of a plan either. So just, no, it's not.
Yeah, it would be an unplanned pregnancy.
Just like an unplanned engagement for me. So whatever it is would be unplanned. Jeez, David. All right. I'm out of left field in that one. Let's see. Few other chat. Actually, there wasn't. Oh, yeah. I was going to ask you guys this. There's a lot of random stuff that's been going on, but I think it's interesting. Did y'all see the new rules to college football dealing with injuries by chance that the NCAA has?
I did. Yeah. It's like you basically are charged a timeout.
Yeah. So this is the rule that if medical personnel enter into the field to evaluate an injured player after the ball is spotted by the officiating crew for the next play, that player's team will be charged a timeout. If the team does not have any timeouts remaining, a 5-yard delay of game penalty will be assessed. What do y'all think?
As someone who served as a concussion spotter in the past, I don't like that at all, but I get what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I get what they're trying to do.
I get what they're trying to do. What it is it's an overcorrection. Now you're going to have teams with actual injured players who have to burn a timeout a lot. Like that's going to happen a lot. Because like you said, Curtis, the concussion aspect, I get the sense of, hey, if you're hurt, you'll be down. It'll be before they spot the ball. But there's a lot of times where you're on the sideline and you're looking and you kind of are noticing, hey, this guy's a little weird. Oh, we need to check on him. And they've already spotted the ball.
Right.
So
especially if it's like a hurry up offense situation or whatever, where normally you would like tell somebody to take a dive to kill momentum. And like, I get that, but that's not much time in between there for something to happen like that. So that'll probably be the exception to the rule when it does. But
I mean, injuries happen a lot. Like obviously fake injuries happen a lot, and that certainly you want to cut down on that, which this will help with that. But their teams are just going to be out of timeouts so quickly because think about how many times throughout a game, probably 7 or 8 times that there is a player down for injury. And you could say, hey, all those have been fake these past couple of years. I don't necessarily believe that. I think there's certainly some fake ones, but like there's 7 or 8 injury timeouts throughout a game. And so now if those are going to be actual timeouts, teams are going to run out of timeouts in the first quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing is like, I agree with you guys on it. Another thing I'd add to it, though, is people who may be upset or mad and say, why is the NCAA is doing too much or whatever. Like, the people I blame is people like Lane Kiffin and all these people who've been faking, Gus Malzahn, been faking injuries. Like, y'all are the problem. Like, don't blame, like, for something like this. Like, this is terrible. Well, you shouldn't have been manipulating and taking advantage of something serious like that. You shouldn't have been doing it. So, I that's what I take issue with is them. It's not just saying, like, oh, well, the hurry up, no huddle offense versus a pro style offense. Like, no, you were literally trying to take advantage of serious injuries or something that is serious when it comes to injuries to try to get an upper hand and doing it in a very manipulative way. And I'm not for that. So it's like, this is on y'all.
This puts medical personnel in a really, really tough position because you shouldn't be in a spot where you have to wait to go out and care for someone or wait to go out there and take care of something that you spotted. Because you don't want to piss off potentially the coaching staff if you cost them a timeout. Like the coaches don't make those decisions. That's out of their purview. So now you're going to have athletic trainers on the sideline who might see something because they're not watching the football game. They're watching the players and everything that's going on out there who wait. And that can exacerbate an injury. It can lead to something that could be handled quickly, becoming worse. And that's what I don't like about it.
I guess it's going to now be on teams and their coaches and their players to kind of, I think what you're going to see is players that are injured kind of limping over to the sidelines. Like, I think coaches are going to emphasize that, where it's like, hey, if you're injured and you're anywhere near the sideline and you can get over. So we don't have to burn a timeout like that. You're going to see an uptick in that. I also think there's going to be an uptick in like coaches telling these guys, if you even think without a shadow of a doubt you're injured, stay down and get down and make sure they stop before they get that. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of like seeing how close they are to spot the ball and then telling these players either run off or stay down. Like, it's going to be kind of a little bit of a weird thing. But to your point, Curtis, like, it's just, it's going to be fuzzy. And
very fuzzy.
There's just so many injuries in football. It's a freaking contact sport. And so, I think these timeouts are going to be dropping like flies, man.
Yeah, and it's probably going to make me sound horrible, but I always like looking at the humor of some of it. It's not funny, but there is some humor in it where, like, are we going to have reviews to see, like, all right, so did the athletic personnel step onto the field before the ball was spotted? Let's see when the foot entered into the playing field, and we get the different angles. Be like, all right, so which hit first? Ooh, I don't know there, Jim. That's pretty close. Like,
right? I mean, one foot onto the surface, but we're both feet's clearly in bounds. Like,
it's going to be stupid stuff like that. But I did like a comment somebody made to that where they said, causing a potentially game-deciding delay a game for the team, all because Lane Kiffin created a problem, citing a need to fix a non-existent problem. It's like, I break this will cost his team by week 10. I'm like, wouldn't that be something if like if Lane Kiffin lost to Georgia or something like that because of that? It'd be very, very ironic. But either way, like I said, I get the rule. I don't like the rule, but I hate the coaches that took advantage of the rule in the first place more so because they were going to have to do something. Like, they have to do something. Mm-hmm. And that's just so stupid. But either way, I'm sure it won't be a problem. I'm sure it won't cause any concerns, and nobody will be throwing a fit and all that stuff. But I'm telling you guys right now, if there will be a team that loses a game based on this, it's going to be Arkansas. They're going to lose a game based on this somehow, some way. It's going to happen. So you need to make sure those athletic trainers are on the ready. They're in the best shape of their life. Get out there quick. Like, make sure it happens, and then you're going to hear the other offense coaches be like, "Get to the ball, hurry, go, 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 go!" Make sure you snap, put the ball down, ref. Put the ball down, ref. So it's going to be nightmarish, but either way. All right, let's see. We'll get to your chats, folks. Just got about a few minutes here left on the show. Let's see. Michelle is. I hear she's done stuff with athletic training. I could be wrong. But she says, I can honestly see some life-threatening things happening because of this, which is sad. They'll have to make changes within the year. I believe that too. It's going to cause problems, and they don't want to get sued.
I'm still in a group chat with all my old coworkers. It's just full of athletic trainers, and they're all pissed off about it.
What it sucks that actual injuries are going to get affected because of, like you said, John, the manipulation of this by other coaches, that it's kind of causing that ripple effect.
Yeah. There's no like perfect solution, but I don't know. I just feel like you should have just punished the coaches in some capacity because they were the ones doing it. And they're the ones that, do it to where if you did an investigation, which also comes into trying to get someone to do an investigation, but you did an investigation, you saw that the coaches were doing something where there was some sort of obvious fake injury. Be like, all right, well, that coach is suspended for the next game. Like, if you started doing stuff like that, that could really change some people's minds.
Every week in the SEC, be like, hey, we look through the film and we spot fake injuries. We spot coaches telling guys to get down. If you do it, here's your punishment or whatever. Yeah, that probably, it is weird that they're going to affect the actual way the game goes down and the way actual injuries are handled.
Yeah, well, because they know that they're some of their best teams do that stuff, and they don't want their best teams to lose games, so they got to have their coaches out there because that means money. I mean, that's what it all comes down to. So, Aiden says, dudes going to struggle to the sidelines with a pulled hamstring, just crawling at the turf to get back before too many minutes called on the field. Yeah. It's gonna again. There's gonna be a lot of problems with it.
It's like actual war, man. Dude's gonna have his leg broken and he's sliding over there. It's like, it's crazy.
And they'll be like, sorry guys, sorry kid, it's the rules. I can't help you. Can't help you do anything. Let's see. Transplanted Texan says, do Hog fans even care about the football portal right now?
Y'all tell us.
I mean, we gave a quick little update right there, and not one person said jack shit. So,
yeah. Let's see. I was laughing about this because Ryan says, is winning a draft eligible sophomore? I think he meant Wiggins,
right?
but I just wanted to bring it up because it made me laugh. I was like, is winning a draft? I mean, it might. Winning is always eligible.
Yeah, you can winning. You'll draft winners at any classification. No, yeah, it sucks. Two of the most intriguing draft prospects on the team for Arkansas, Charles Davalon is a draft eligible sophomore this year, and I've seen him playing his way up to the second round, maybe. So it seems like Arkansas is only going to get 1 year out of him, and so I think Carson Wiggins, not Jackson Wiggins, who is pitching for the Cubs, Carson Wiggins will be eligible next year. I think that's why you're going to see him in the starting rotation because it's like, might as well get as much out of him as you can.
Yeah. Ben, Curtis, I want you to answer this question from Ben. What if Artel is the next Jokic?
Well, that'd be cool.
It'd be cool for him to gain 6 inches in height and 120 pounds in weight.
That would be a great development for the Razorbacks. I'll tell you that right now. An unexpected development for the Razorbacks if that were the case.
I'm sure he was just messing around, but it's just always makes me laugh. Somebody's like, what if player A was the next Michael Jordan? What if that happened? Like just probably be pretty cool. Probably would be a good thing.
I do think this kid's better than a lot of folks give him credit for. I just think he's got a lot to sharpen up on. There's gonna be an adjustment period there. Personally, not counting on him to be a year one contributor. But do I think he's better than spots 10 through 15 or whatever on this past year's roster? Yep. By a wide margin, actually. So,
I'm going to ask you guys this, and if you don't have an opinion, that's fine. But what'd y'all make of if you saw it, the baseball broadcaster getting the girl's number that he was interviewing? Like, I don't know if y'all saw that, but people were really up in arms about it. What was y'all's thoughts on it? Because I have thoughts. I didn't
watch I saw the thing, but I didn't actually watch the video or whatever where it happened. I mean, probably wouldn't have been my move, but I can't really weigh in too much because I didn't watch the video for the context.
Yeah, and it wasn't really that much of a video. But I thought it was lame. I didn't think it was like I wasn't offended by it. I get why some people would be, and I saw a lot of that reaction. I didn't think it was like a disgrace to our integrity as journalists and all that. I just thought the guy seemed like a loser, and so I think he should probably be embarrassed because he seemed lame. But I didn't think it was like this super offensive thing that people should be up in arms about. But I also, again, do understand why people are up in arms. A lot of people are doing the thing of, well, what if that was a girl who was getting a male athlete's number and blah, blah, blah. And people would be making fun of her because she would be lame, not because it's offensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That's exactly how I feel about it. Reminds me of a Seinfeld episode where Jerry Seinfeld, who's Jewish, is in confession at a Catholic church, and he goes, I feel like my buddy he's converted to Judaism just for the jokes. Like, so does that offend you as a Jewish person? He's like, no, it offends me as a comedian. It's kind of the same thing where it's like, does this offend you because of the social climate of everything? It's like, no, it offends me as a content person. It's like, that's really lame and stupid. But I don't know. I just didn't think, I feel like if the roles were reversed, it's like, well, if the roles were reversed, then, we'd probably have the same reaction. You'd either think it was lame or whatever, but also think if it was a girl asking for a guy's number, I don't think any I don't think it's many people just be like, oh, that's pathetic. That's terrible. That's disgusting. It's like, I think everyone's going to have their own thoughts.
He's been getting shit on the internet. Like, Curtis, you've seen just the reaction to it. Would you say that's the consensus? People have been kind of shitting on this guy, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so everyone doing the reverse thing of, oh, if this was a woman, she'd be getting shit on. Well, the man is getting shit on. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably right. I'm not disputing that. But I would say, like, we're all kind of making fun of this because it's just kind of like a lame thing to do to, like, kind of while you're on camera, get a girl's number and she kind of feels threatened and she's like, okay, yeah, I'll get your number. But to those that didn't see the video, it's basically like a sideline reporter for, I think it was the Braves or something like that. And they found some they're on the road at some other park and they found some Braves fans. They were two women and he's sitting there talking with them and he's kind of, all right, yeah, throwing it back to you, Mike. And the play-by-play guy was like, all right, well, you've got however many innings to get their numbers. And then the reporter was like, hey, yeah, he says I should get y'all's number. And so he like gets out his phone and gets their numbers. And people were very, very upset about it. But again, I just thought the guy kind of looked like a dweeb.
Thank you, Garrett, for this. Says John, if he was a broadcaster, I would never do such a thing on that.
Would you be the number getter? Not on camera though, right? Like after?
Not on camera. Yeah. I see. That's the thing is these days, I don't know what, like there's some girls, like I dated a girl and she's actually ended up being my ex, but who didn't want to give me her number at first, but did say, hey, you can follow me on social media and you can DM me that way because I just don't feel comfortable giving my number out, which I'm like, okay, I get that. So it would just be more like hey, what's the best way to contact you? You know, because some people would be cool with the number. If you give me your Snapchat code or whatever, I'm out. Like I ain't doing that stuff.
I was about to ask, have you ever
scanned a QR
approached
code
a woman like that and been like, hey, can I get your IG?
Absolutely not.
Can I get your Snap?
Absolutely not. Like that to me just comes off. If you ask for someone's Snap, that's the ultimate creep move, I think. Because it's like, I want to talk to you, but I don't want anyone seeing it. Like
that's a bonk alert.
Yeah. That gets weird for stuff like that. So, all right. So that'll be enough of us in my dating life. Any final thoughts, guys, before we get out of here for the day?
Oh, no, I think I'm good. I'm looking forward to going to Alumni Hall tomorrow.
It'll be awesome.
And yeah, that's about it.
Great. That was a good way to end it. But yes, we'll be at Alumni Hall tomorrow in Fayetteville, folks, 3417 North College Avenue, starting at noon. So come see us. Again, you'll get a 20% discount on your purchase if you just use Hogs by 20. Come and give us a fist bump and tell us how awesome we are. We're going to be right there from 12 to 1:30 before the Razorback baseball game. And also, you'll have a chance to put your name in a drawing with every purchase for the autographed Ben Bybee baseball. So it's going to be awesome to be out there. So come on out and see us. And that'll do it for us. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas. Be sure to check out our audio podcast wherever they're found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, or the Bombastic Podcast. You can go to our website, InsideArkansas.com. Follow us on social media at Inside Arkansas for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information, and we'll keep it going from there. So for Andrew Ellis, well, as Curtis Wilkerson, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at Alumni Hall in Fayetteville. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we'll see you then.